We kick off the program today with some Aztec football. He's got to get to work, but nice enough to join us for a few moments is the Aztecs offensive coordinator, Al Borges. Aztecs set to take on Air Force Saturday. Al, how are you?
Doing great. How you guys doing?
Always very well, sir. It's a pleasure. I rode, I don't know if you saw me, but I jumped in the elevator, the very same elevator that you were in, riding down from the press box down to the field level after the BYU game on Saturday. And you were seething, and I mean, you're a competitor, so you had to be seething. I mean, that's a tough loss to take on Saturday. I loved what you had to say after that game, and the quote was, "We're never going to be great unless we find out how to play when it matters." And I just thought that crystallized really the last hurdle that this San Diego State program is trying to overcome right now.
Yeah, and it's not the first time I've been in this situation. Chris, we got a pretty good team. We do. I think top to bottom, and I think our numbers would bear that out. But what we've done, we've lost 2 games in crucial situations, and it's a lot of people's fault. It's coach's fault too now. It's on us as much as anybody. We got to do a better job of sending our message and then get our message executed. But this team can be about as good as it wants to be. But we got to figure out now when it's time to play, when it's crunch time, is we got to perform. All that happened during the game, I thought we played poor offensively, and I'll be the first one to tell you that. But the most disappointing part of the whole thing was going 3 and out with about 3.5 minutes left in the game. That was disappointing. We didn't challenge for the win, and you got to challenge for the win. I mean, if you're ever going to be a good team or a great team, you got to challenge, and we didn't do that when it counted. But the kids are making headway. They're better understanding what we want on a daily basis, and it's baby steps. And as coaches, we don't like baby steps. We want quantum leaps, and we don't get them all the time. We get impatient, and I'm the worst of the bunch. But I understand what it takes to get you to the next level, and we're approaching it. But we're not there yet. Hopefully this week we can take that step because we're going to face a really good team.
Coach, one of the first messages we heard from Brady Hoke when he walked on campus was about finishing and playing all the way through in the fourth quarter and all the way through a season. The strength and conditioning programs, the practices, all designed so the Aztecs are going to be a team that wears out the opponents and finishes strong. Does that make a loss like Saturday's that much more frustrating, knowing that that's exactly what you guys have been working on for a year and a half?
No question. And it's not just that. A year ago, we lost 2 games that we were significantly ahead in because we weren't able to finish our business, and that's the whole problem. It's not the whole problem, but it's certainly a huge part of getting over the hump. Now, see, the good news about this whole thing is we've put ourselves in a position to be competitive, and that's the start. That's not the goal. The goal is not to be competitive. The goal is to win. Okay, but we put ourselves in a position to be competitive, which unless you can do that, you can forget about winning. So now we're in that position. Now we have to execute those 3 or 4, maybe 5 plays during the course of the game that make a difference in the outcome. And we just haven't done that. But I think we're going to do that. I really do think we're going to do that because our kids are getting a better feel for what it takes, and that's really the issue.
Al Borges, offensive coordinator, San Diego State Aztecs, 3-2, taking on Air Force Saturday night, 5 o'clock. We'll have it for you on our sister station, AM 600 Kogo. Al, Aztec fans pick up the paper today and read, that the officials who did not overturn the fumble call in the game against BYU have been suspended. You also read in that story that there's a pass interference at the end of that game that should not have been called. And that frustrates you if you're a fan. I mean, to look back and say, man, those are 2 calls that they took away from us, might have helped the Aztecs win this game. How do you guys couch that? How do you guys deal with that, talking to your players and amongst you as coaches? Because knowing Brady Hoke the way I've gotten to know him, I don't really think he's the kind of guy that's really looking to blame officials, even if others want to.
No, those conversations are much more between the coaches than they are the players. I mean, you start talking about officiating the players, you're just giving an excuse to fail. And so often, as much as some games are officiated better than others, very seldom do they dictate the outcome of the game. I won't say never, but I will say very seldom do they dictate the outcome of the game. So the best thing to do from a player's perspective is address that which you can control. And I'm just not sure, in some of the close calls, that you can control that stuff. Now, if you're blatantly holding some guy or doing something, obviously that's a penalty. You can control that. Don't get me wrong. But the bang calls, the replays, all those are things you just can't do anything about. So the best thing to do with the players, don't spend much time with it. We as coaches probably do more pontificating on officiating than we ever would relay to the players.
But the fact that both of the Aztecs' losses, the day after, officials have come out and pointed out, and this is not something that happens all the time, pointed out egregious mistakes, and in this case, a mistake that has to border on negligence if it resulted in the suspension of 3 people. That's got to be extremely aggravating for all of you.
Oh, no. I won't kid you. You bet it is. You bet it is. I make no qualms about that. That is extremely aggravating. That just can't be the reason you lose in terms of how you talk to your players. That just can't, because there's too many other plays that make a difference. But if I told you that I just poo-pooed that, I would be the biggest liar in the world. That aggravates the hell out of me. It is what
and we know Al Borges isn't a big. He's not
35 years. Goodness gracious, I've been in more games.
Yeah.
Where a call here and a call there, and the best thing that as a coach, that I can do is be in the box because I do a better job because I'm not close to the officials. I'm not, I can mostly focus.
And I'm going to tell you another thing that you do that's smart, being in the box, Al. Since a lot of the setups in a lot of the stadiums, you're in the box next to us. Is that he puts himself between other coaches, because if he was next to like the side where the window is, I think some panels would be flying out during. So I like your positioning in the box. Al, real quick, you got Air Force coming up. Everyone's going to talk about, the Aztecs and stopping their run and the whole thing. You're obviously worried about the other side of the football. This is a pretty good team, Air Force. They're in the top 25. The only loss they had, they took Oklahoma to the wire. So we know they're good. Talk about their defense just a little bit and how you try to attack their defense, because everybody focuses on their running game offense, but they got to play some D too.
They do, and they do as much from a variety perspective in terms of showing you a lot of different looks on, particularly in the back end of their defense with regard to coverage and pressures, as anybody we play. There's no question that, and I think they feel they got to kind of play that way because they're built that way. They get some smart kids that really play hard, and they're not afraid to try some things. And I think that's challenging from our perspective because we have to prepare for a lot of things maybe you don't see as much in other games. And plus, what we have found too is they'll kind of have the blitz du jour, if you will. It'll be something different. There'll be something different that they do in this game that they didn't do in another game, so you'll have to make the adjustments to that. But this team they're a good team. They play team ball. They take advantage of your screw ups. God knows a year ago we had enough of them, but they're the type of team that, because of their style of play, it allows them to succeed. I'm completely convinced of that, and I think that's the way it is in a lot of the academy schools. The way they play offense, the way they play defense, allows them to be successful.
Coach, it's homecoming week. Very special. I had Marshall Falk on campus here the last couple of days. How important is a homecoming game for a program like this? And do you have any good homecoming stories from any of your college football stops, memorable homecoming events?
No, not really. But when I was in high school, I went out with the homecoming queen. I was pretty fired up about that. And my wife was a homecoming queen. That's the only stories that I have. God knows why she went out. She's going out with me or married me, but that's as far as I go with that. Homecoming is homecoming to everyone else, but it's kind of Saturday to me. We kind of prepare the same way and do the same things, and I think it's a little bit of a little better motivation factor for the players. But it's cool, and I love it, but I can't honestly say it plays a big part in how I coach.
Al Borges, the offensive coordinator to the Aztecs. Al, good luck on Saturday against Air Force. I'll see you up in the booth, man.
Okay, Chris, I'll try to control my language in the elevator next time if I know you're there. Just
you didn't say, no,
right?
You did not say a word, which I agreed with. I don't know how you could have spoken out. It was just, to me, what I liked, Al, I guess the reason I'm sharing a little behind the scenes to people is I just like the competitiveness, man. That's the kind of ride it should have been on that elevator after that game. And, you're a competitor and you want it so bad. And, I could feel that riding down there with you.
Well, the second year of the program, now that we know it a little better, our expectations are higher. I'm the first one to tell you. And when we don't get what we expect, then as coaches, it's our responsibility to see to it that we demand what we want. And if we don't get it, sometimes we got to stomp and kick and scream a little bit to get it, but we're going to get it. And this program is going to be a good program. I can see it. We're just not quite there yet. But I think with some patience, and I'm talking to myself, I think, as much as anybody, people are going to reap the benefits of this.
We're loving what we've seen overall, Al. Good start to the year. Keep it rolling.
Thanks,
Good luck.
Coach.
Appreciate it, guys.
Al Borges, offensive coordinator, San Diego State.